Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Will. Today I'm going to be sharing my experience with Epiduo Gel. As I've mentioned in prior videos, I had a bad case of cystic acne when I was younger, and out of all the topical medications that I've tried, Epiduo was the one that worked the best for me. With that being said, Epiduo was not a perfect medication, and I'm going to be talking about why that is. Before we get started, if you enjoy skincare videos, please hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be making more videos related to this topic in the next coming weeks. Also, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy this topic and you want to hear more about my experiences. So let's rewind the clock about 9 years ago. I was a 19-year-old who had tried all sorts of different prescription and over-the-counter medication to treat my cystic acne with little and sometimes no results. I tried different antibiotics, I tried Retin-A micro, I tried chemical peels, but none of these really helped. Also, my dermatologists, and yes, I said dermatologist with an S because I visited several at the same time, but they were all hesitant to prescribe me Accutane because at that point it had only been a couple of years since Accutane had been taken off the shelf due to mounting personal injury lawsuits. I was incredibly frustrated. Somewhere along the line, I became aware of Epiduo Gel through a commercial, and I visited my dermatologist once again. This was around the summer of 2012 to get an Epiduo prescription to hopefully treat my acne in a better way. In case you don't already know, Epiduo is a mixture of two different medications. It's a mixture of a medication called adapalene and benzoyl peroxide. I think most of you guys are probably familiar with benzoyl peroxide, but essentially it kills the acne bacteria. Meanwhile, the adapalene works very much like a Retin-A would, where it exfoliates your skin to let the benzoyl peroxide actually penetrate the pores and treat the acne in a more efficient manner. So I started using Epiduo during the summer of 2012. I want to say that almost immediately I noticed my skin becoming red and irritated. These side effects actually persisted for the entirety of the 4 years that I wore this topical. Epiduo advertised that within 3 months you would see the full results of the medication. However, from my experience, it took an actual total of 6 months to really see my skin almost completely clear up. Now, this doesn't mean that I wasn't breaking out from time to time because I definitely was. However, up to that point, Epiduo had been the topical that had worked the best for me out of all the other stuff that I'd tried. Epiduo releases the acne that is inside of the skin, so these first couple of months my skin actually looked like it was worse than when I started, but really it was just going through that purging process that a lot of these medications with Retin-A's, with tretinoin, this wasn't tretinoin, but with medications that exfoliate the skin, this is a big side effect that you see with all those medications. So, and I was definitely experiencing the same from this. I do want to mention that unlike what Epiduo makers recommend, instead of just wearing it once per night, I actually wore this day and night. So I would wear it at night just like you normally would, and in the morning I would wake up, I would cleanse my face, I would put on a thin layer of Epiduo, I would let that dry, and then after I would put a thin layer of sunscreen over that, and that was my routine for an entirety of 4 years. You can say that I had very intense side effects mainly because I was using it in a manner that was more than was recommended. However, given my history of stubborn acne, it was just something that I felt was necessary to effectively treat what I was dealing with. Approximately 4 years later, I came to a turning point in my life. I was graduating from college and my life was about to change completely. And despite it being so long, I was still dealing with the same side effects that I was with Epiduo. At this time, I tried adjusting my Epiduo usage downward to maybe hopefully get some lesser side effects, but as soon as I did that, I began breaking out once again. I called my dermatologist and I shared my frustration with him. At this point, I had been working with him for over 4 years and he knew all the different things that I tried and he knew how dedicated I was to this issue, so that is when he finally agreed to prescribe me Accutane. Now, if you want to watch my video on Accutane, I'll go ahead and link it above somewhere, but this video is about Epiduo. So why did I stop using Epiduo ultimately? Well, for starters, I hated seeing that red glowing appearance that I had. It was almost like a really bad sunburn that I had all the time. I remember getting comments from people thinking that I was like embarrassed all the time or just like maybe nervous, but my skin was always just naturally red, and it was because this medication was so irritating to me. Second, my skin always looked dry and ashy. Despite exfoliating every single morning, I always had red flakes around my mouth. It almost looked like, you know, when you bite into one of those powdered donuts and like it just leaves powdered stuff all over your mouth? Like that's literally what that looked like. My skin was ashy, my skin was flaky. It was, quite frankly, in my opinion, a little bit gross. And I was so sick of it. There was nothing that I really could do to make it go away. And as soon as I reduced the amount of Epiduo that I was using, I started breaking out again. Last but not least, Epiduo never really got rid of 100% of my acne. Now, my acne did improve by about 80 to 90%. So although that is a huge improvement, it was never up to where I wanted to be. I wanted to achieve 100% clear skin, and this simply just wasn't happening with Epiduo, aside from the fact that you have to wear it every single day, and it's going to make you look red, it's going to make you look burnt, it's going to make you look ashy and dry, and I was just over it. I really was ready to kind of put an end to this, and Accutane in my mind was the only way out. In summary, I think Epiduo was a great product. I think it did a lot of great things for my skin. However, after using it for about 4 years, I was just done with the routine of it. I was done with the side effects of it, and I wanted to do something that was going to be more permanent in nature. As you can imagine, having to wear something every single night can get in the way when you're trying to travel, when you're trying to spend the night at a friend's house, when you're trying to do different things, especially with things that involve being outside, going to the beach, sun exposure, etc. It makes it more complicated. So I was ready to move on, and although, like I said, I think the medication did great things for my skin, and I think it does great things for people, it was just time for me to move on, and I think I made the right decision by going off of it. But if you guys have any questions regarding my experience, definitely leave them down in the comments and I will be sure to respond. I will be making more skincare videos in the next coming weeks, so definitely stay tuned for those. And I will be focusing more specifically on my experiences with all the different prescription medications that I've tried. I hope you guys stay well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye.